Okay, so let's get into key lime pie. Um, what are your thoughts on key lime pie? Tell me how that should smell. Imagine that I've never had key lime pie before and I know nothing about it.
Ooh, okay. So key lime pie, it's a delicate balance, right? You need to have the crust. The crust is probably the most important kind of base that you can have. The Obviously the lime needs to be sharp and tart and tangy, but at the same time it needs to be like smooth and creamy. You
Okay.
need to have the filling itself, which is kind of almost like a custard texture. Um, and obviously, you can have a few different toppings, usually just something like whipped cream. Um, but having that balance between sweet and tangy, with a little bit of bitterness, and the obviously the crust, the pastry, all of those like kind of baked to perfection. That's going to be what defines the fragrance.
So the crust, does it have a flavor or is it just dough and bread?
It does have a flavor. Um,
Like what I mean is like the crust, is it infused with cinnamon or
oh, the
that
infused
yes.
crust might be interesting.
Because whenever I make cakes or I make pies or I make anything, I always put something inside of it, like almost every step. So like, my if I made that pie in real life, my crust wouldn't just be the pie crust. I'd make one myself and I'd embed sugars or cinnamon into that crust so that it's not just a flat crust and then the pie is the part that you enjoy. It's like you also want to eat the crust if it was by itself.
Yeah, I mean the way I usually think of the crust is for texture, right? It adds the quote unquote hard texture that you need for the pie overall to balance the texture. So if you were thinking of a flavor to add to the crust, it would have to be one that is synonymous with that texture and
Yes.
how it goes with lime. So I'm trying to think of one that is like hard,
Well,
but
on that note, I could just say like, let's imagine that I've chosen to go with the sugars, and I've done like a sugary crust, and then we have our filling. Um, you said something about toppings earlier. What goes on top of a key lime pie?
generally not a lot, just whipped cream. But if I was adding whatever I wanted on top, I would probably put some raspberries on there.
Ooh, key
Um,
lime pie with raspberries,
yeah, and whipped cream.
lime and raspberry together. Interesting. See, I imagine vanilla wafers for some reason,
Ooh,
like vanilla wafers and maybe almonds, like crushed up or ground up almonds, and you sprinkle it all over the top of the key lime pie. It's like garnishing the whipped cream.
yeah, yeah,
That way, it has like
yeah.
a maybe like a little bit of a nuttiness, or like I don't know why that makes me think of pistachio right now.
Ooh,
Why we shouldn't be talking about these, man. They're getting so
pistachio is probably a good one, actually.
they're getting so interesting by the second, man. Like they're getting so interesting by the second. As we talk on these, every single one's gonna become something that has to happen. Um,
Yeah.
because that key lime pie is sounding amazing right now.
Oh, yeah. I'm literally looking up like key lime pie recipes to make it home.
I know you're going to the store today, man.
Oh, yeah.
I hear it in your voice. You're gonna be like, I have to go make a pie.
I haven't baked anything in so long, so and it's not too many ingredients: lime zest, egg yolk, key lime juice, sugar, macadamia nuts, graham cracker crumbs, melted butter, condensed milk. That's it.
Ooh, macadamia.
Oh yeah,
So
decent
macadamia is
crust.
really really
So,
close to pistachio
ow.
in scent. There's a lot of pistachio and macadamia combinations in like candles and I guess different things that we use in our daily lives. I've seen that a lot. I remember I smelled one that was really nice at I think it was Alta, and ever since then I've been very interested in macadamia and pistachio, but macadamia really caught my attention. Because I can do that. Macadamia is not that hard. Pistachio, that's a bit harder. But
Yeah,
there is a fusion between the two to where some people might recognize it as being pistachio, some people might recognize it as being macadamia.
yeah, yeah.
They're kind of dependent on like some central notes that are like shared between the two accords. There is pistachio like CO2. I don't know if there's macadamia CO2. Um, but I don't have that, so I'd have to make my own accord for those. But I think we have a good starting point for key lime pie too now. People are gonna want
Oh
that.
yeah.
I want that, or at least I want to experience that. I can't see myself wearing it every day. I'm not a gourmand person, but then again, the way that it sounds right now, that might be something I put on often.
Oh, I love key lime pie, so that would be my number one.
Sounds good.